There's always been a big debate about what the greatest rap song of all time is, and today we're going to be doing a game where we have one song paired up versus another in the King of the Hill format, and by the end of it, there's only going to be one song left standing, and we brought in different songs from different eras. Let's start off with 90210 by Travis Scott versus Eminem Stan.
Okay, this is a very interesting conversation. So, two completely different styles of music and hip-hop, two completely different eras and subgenres, but I mean, 90210 strives in one area, and I think that's production, that beat switch, and the electric guitars by Mike D, and I mean, it's just a beautiful song as a whole, but I mean, you're comparing it to one of the greatest of all time, in my opinion, which is Stan,
yeah,
and at least that's my opinion.
I think it's
also a better written song.
It's one of the greatest storytelling songs of all time, and to think that Eminem created that out of fiction and that he used his imagination to formulate that, the way that he's able to personify two different characters, fucking genius. As much as I love the production on 90210, which is superior to Stan's production, I think Stan has to get a W here.
Absolutely.
But let's now move on to Stan versus Nothing But a G Thing by Snoop and Dre.
I still think I'm taking Stan here, though.
Listen, bro, Nothing But a G Thing was the birth of G-Funk, and it was... revolutionary to the genre. I think that Snoop's flow, the way that he starts off the song, 1, 2, 3 into the 4. I mean, he's saying nothing, but he's saying so much just because of how well he's gliding over that beat.
And that flow is super iconic too. I mean, what that did for the genre is inevitable. But again, like, I think Stan's a better written song. I mean, I will give Nothing But a G Thing the production.
Bro,
but
if you're in Cali right now riding out, what are you listening to? Or anywhere, bro. Like, it's
but what's the more impressive song?
The more impressive song is Stan.
Exactly.
But the more playable song to me is Nothing But a G Thing.
But I would still think, like, I'm still bumping Stan though. You know what I'm trying to say? It's a fan favorite. Like, even what it did for pop culture was immense too.
Yeah, it's literally in the fucking dictionary, you know?
Listen, I think
we'll go with Stan on this one. Now we have Stan by Eminem versus Runaway by Kanye West.
This is a tough one.
I mean, you could argue that Runaway is Kanye's best song alongside songs like All Falls Down and so many more, but Runaway really strives in just what Kanye is saying on a message level in terms of him not wanting to take shit from the media, him writing his own narrative, and I think the production is immaculate. Him, using that E major key and making people flip out over just the simple minimalistic use of that.
Yeah, even that Pusha T verse is absolutely ruthless. That collaboration is one of my favorite of all time, especially within Kanye's catalog. And I think the reason why I wanted to include Runaway on this list for, our whole bank was because of how iconic it is also for the 2010s decade. It's a big standout in the past 10 years. Well, let's say maybe 12 now because we're in 2022. So I still don't think, though, that it gets stand by Eminem.
Yeah, I feel like
sure,
on a cinematic level, like hearing the scribbles of the pen to paper on Stan, hearing the rain and the thunder come into the scene, like, it really puts you in that setting a bit better than I would say Kanye puts you
even
in the mood
car
for Runaway.
driving off of the bridge.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot more.
Stan is gonna stay. Stan is gonna stay by Eminem versus Straight Outta Compton by N.W.A. We had to bring some 80s songs in here, and listen, to me, this is a song that kind of symbolizes freedom of speech. I love the urgency. It feels like Ice Cube, MC Ren, and Easy are kind of charging at you with their motives of, not wanting to roll down and take shit from the police or any authority at all.
Not only that, but it was also one of the first songs that ever gave you like an inside scoop on what was going on in, Compton at that time. And when they were talking about the song and the Defiant Ones, it meant so much to all of their careers because not only did it open up a lane of opportunity for them, but hip hop as a whole. I still do think, though, that Stan is the better song, though. I'm going with Stan on this one.
The sense of urgency that's created is amazing, and I really think that, like, hip-hop hadn't seen a song as vulgar and rebellious up until that point.
It was super controversial.
It was an amazing song, but Stan by Eminem stays, bro. I'm surprised that it's lasting this long, but next up is Doo-Wop That Thing by Lauryn Hill going up against Stan. Two totally different songs in terms of style, in terms of vocal performances.
And tempo.
Bro, Lauryn Hill starts off the first 5 seconds harmonizing like an angel on that song. I love the harmonies. I love the amazing hook. I mean, doo-wop is also one of the most sampled hip-hop songs of all time.
It's one of the most important for that as well, especially for the melodic scene and how, like, melodic and, well, I would say melodic rapping developed, but I mean, there's people obviously doing it before, but, like, the way Lauryn Hill did it was so impressive, and I mean, just that perfect mesh of lyricism and singing is so prominent within this song, and the amount of people that this has inspired. I think I'm going doo-wop over
the way
Stan.
Across genres, neo-soul and hip-hop, the way that her melodies are so addictive, the doo-wop singing as well. Also the message about how, women should have, I would say, more pride in themselves in a sense, and how, they shouldn't be so easy to give up, the sexual component to a relationship off the bat. Like, everything was genius. It spoke to a generation.
Is it better than Stan?
I don't think it's better than Stan by Eminem.
I think this is the closest one I have to Stan.
It's the
so
closest
far.
one we've come to it, and there's a real warmth and joy I get out of listening to it. But I think Stan by Eminem is still superior.
Yeah, okay, but let's go on to one that I think is gonna definitely have us questioning, and that's "Sing About Me, I'm Dying of Thirst" by Kendrick Lamar. Definitely one of the best written songs of the 2010 decade. I think that it's Kendrick's magnum opus as far as what he's able to offer out of his catalog, and the way that this song ties into, even songs on Section 80, the way that the story develops, him having two different songs fused into one track, and how seamlessly transitioned that is, even talking about the different perspectives that he's tackling. I think that on a writing level, it achieves the same thing that Stan did, and I think that it's also a better lyrical display.
And he taps into even more characters, and the way that they're introduced. First, you have Dave's brother, who was an integral component to the Good Kid, Mad City story. The way that his exit is in the song, where you hear the gunshots and he passes away,
and then you hear the voices bleeding out, even the production
for Keisha's sister.
Perfect,
yeah,
bro.
And I just think that in terms of connective tissue to an album, it's superior. In terms of writing, it's superior. In terms of the message of people needing that salvation due to the crazy circumstances their lives are put in, I think Kendrick defeats Eminem Stan on this one.
Okay, listen, "Sing About Me, I'm Dying of Thirst" is going on to the next one. So Stan is officially eliminated. That was a great run.
Had a good run, bro.
It had
Strong.
a good run. Okay.
Couldn't last
Juicy
forever,
by
though.
Biggie versus "Sing About Me, I'm Dying of Thirst." This is a tough one,
bro.
now.
This is probably the most beloved song by the most beloved rapper of all time. I think that this is a song that literally checks every box when you're looking at a perfect hip hop song, in terms of the rags to riches story that everybody could relate to, in terms of the production. The Juicy Fruit sample is iconic.
Not only that, but the amount of quotables within this song is absolutely incredible, and this advanced the genre in different ways that we can't even imagine. Just what it did for the whole hip hop genre, and even for the sampling game, being able to take those old R&B songs that were popping off a decade before, and then flipping them into something completely different was genius.
It's a complete song, bro. You have the singy songy hook. You have Biggie killing it on the verses, and even though it's his victory lap about his come up, it feels like hip hop's victory lap when he raps lines like, "You never thought hip hop could take it this far." It feels like a celebration for the genre
and it's
itself.
also it's calling these things that will happen to the genre, and it ends up becoming the most beloved genre in the United States in 2017. So just seeing how he was able to predict that back in the day was amazing as well. But listen, I don't think it's touching.
I don't think it's better than "Sing About Me, I'm Dying of Thirst," even though it has more playability. I would rather listen to "Juicy" by Biggie than "Sing About Me."
Not in my I love "Juicy," but the only thing is that it's gotten tired for me. I've heard it way too many times. But I still love the song. But let's keep going on with this, and I think this is where we're gonna have a very big conversation.
Yes.
Exhibit C by Jay Electronica versus "Sing About Me, I'm Dying of Thirst." And I love what you said on the phone the other day when we were putting this list together, how you had people debating if he was the greatest rapper of all time because of this one song. Literally one piece of work, and explaining his whole travel as not only a rapper but as a human being, what he went through, how he transitioned into it, how he had visions, how he was able to manifest all of it and become the greatest MC to ever touch a microphone. And
absolutely,
listen, I think that it's one of the best written songs of all time as well. I'm such a big fan of the production. It feels triumphant. It's a song that gives me more energy than any other song in the genre.
It feels like Jay Electronica climbed Mount Everest when he made this song. It feels like an uphill battle as he starts off telling us about homelessness, then goes into how he found God and how the 5%ers approached him, and then how he made it as an artist. I feel like it's a complete journey from start to finish. You also get rhymes, multi-syllabic rhyming, it's quite amazing how you rhyme, how you do, and that you shine like you grew up in a shrine in Peru.
Yeah.
Then you have lines like, "I make the devil hit his knees and say the Our Father." I think for quotables, it knocks over "Sing About Me, I'm Dying of Thirst." I think production-wise as well, Just Blaze brought an amazing beat that is captivating that so many other rappers ended up rapping over. And I think that Jay Electronica as an MC has more powerful bars than Kendrick does. I think the story and the writing is better on "Sing About Me." I think Exhibit C is the better overall hip-hop song.
You think so? I don't know about that. I think that this is maybe one of the closest matchups we're going to have, but what I like about "Sing About Me" in contrast to this is just the wow factor of it. That's something that's always gotten me within rap songs. It's just okay, this was impressive as far as rapping goes, and Jay Electronica definitely achieves that. It's just is it on "Sing About Me"? Is it on that level?
I think it's a better
you
song
know?
than Sing About Me, I'm Dying of Thirst, without a doubt.
Ah, shit.
Bro, even all the lead-in rhymes, like talking about like trying to find the meaning of life in a corona, and then he says how the 5%ers approached him from the Nation of Islam, the connection between a corona and 5%, the percentage of the beer, like every rhyme has purpose.
I know,
from
but,
bar to bar.
I know, but you're still getting that on Sing About Me, I'm Dying of Thirst, let's say, just within the storytelling aspect. Like, you're getting one of the best storytelling songs of all time within it. So, I mean...
I think it has to be Exhibit C, bro. Like I said, that song alone put him in the conversation of the greatest of all time. When have we ever seen another hip-hop song do that?
Okay, fuck it. All right, let's go Exhibit C. Okay, let's go.
Exhibit C. This is another fucking crazy matchup. Versus Renegade by Jay-Z and Eminem.
Listen, okay, I'm going to say this off the bat. I think Exhibit C is a better song, but I will say that I think Renegade is one of the most impressive, I would say, displays of two rappers coming together and absolutely destroying microphones. I mean, people say Jay-Z got washed, but listen back to those two verses. I mean, he still has fantastic performances throughout the whole song. That beat produced by Eminem is so hooking and, like, it gives you so much energy.
Feels like you're about to enter, like, fucking Browser's Castle, bro, because you have, like, the violin section, the suspicious piano keys.
Not only that, but do you think that this possesses, like, some of Eminem's best writing ever?
I think you could argue this is his best ever verse.
You think
so? The first verse, bro, if you're looking at the different rhyme patterns, on a technical level, Eminem was out of this fucking world. And it's crazy that it was originally a Bad Meets Evil song and that they had to remove Royce the 5'9's part for it to fit onto the blueprint. But
I never knew that,
tough.
actually. Is that for real?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know about that.
Supposed to be Royce's song. But yeah, I have to go Exhibit C still. I think it hits harder.
Okay, let's keep going with Exhibit C. All right, so that's Renegade out of the picture. Let's go on to The Message by Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. So what are you going with here? I think I'm going Exhibit C. I mean, we brought another song in from the 80s that has a lot of importance within the genre, but just as a whole, I think now there's no competition with this, at least for me. I think Exhibit C is
I think
one
The
of
Message
best.
is amazing. It kind of opened it up the floodgates for advocacy in hip-hop. It was the first song with, true conscious meaning. But I think Exhibit C just has rhymes on a different fucking level, bar for bar, no real competition.
Even production level, no competition as well there. But I mean, like,
and
that's
the same
kind of
social
like,
commentary you can find in Exhibit C that's present in The Message, just on a heightened level, in my opinion.
That's true. That is true. But it still is a staple within hip hop, so we wanted to include it in the list. But let's go on to another big song, Figaro by MF Doom. And this is on the Mad Villainy album, and this is one of my favorite songs of all time. Probably one of my favorite MF Doom performances of all time. And I think what's so sick about this song is how slick MF Doom is with his rhyme skills. It's one of the nicest cadences and flows I've ever heard on any other song, and go through that writing and like everything is perfectly aligned like columns, bro, within the rhyme schemes of those verses.
Yeah,
it's unbeatable as far as a rap performance goes, but I still do think Jay Electronica gets MF Doom on
I think Jay Electronica gets it, but I think the concept of the song is genius because like he's talking about Figaro, which is a type of chain. And this type of chain has a specific pattern where you have 3 circular links and then you have a bigger oval link. And to me, that's MF Doom saying how his flow pattern is just as locked in as this chain. And it's genius what he's able to do. He has like 3 different patterns within 2 lines. Like, it's mind-blowing. Love the quirky production too, but Exhibit C takes it. Now we have another tough battle. Exhibit C by Jay Electronica versus Cream by the Wu-Tang Clan. And when you think of a classic hip-hop song, one of the first ones that comes to mind is Cream by Wu-Tang.
Yeah, one of the most influential rap songs of all time as well. Like, even just like what that hook means to hip hop and like what it's done for so many different songs as a whole.
Shout out Method Man for that.
Absolutely. I mean, definitely, I think the best off of 36 Chambers. I don't think that could be doubted. I think it's a top 5 New York song of all time.
Bring the Ruckus up there too, though. There's a lot of quality songs on that album.
I still Cream's the best. It is the best. Cream is definitely the best for me on 36 Chambers. At least in my opinion. Everyone has their different opinion on 36 Chambers, but I still think we keep Exhibit C here. Like, it's way too impressive as a song for me.
That's tough, bro. I mean, just that hardcore New York energy you get on Cream, them taking you through how, like, even though the song's message is about cash rules everything around me, they're talking about how cash has kind of ruined everything around them. Oh man, is Exhibit C really better than Cream?
I think so.
All right.
I at least for you and I, okay, subjective wise, would you rather bump Cream or would you rather bump Exhibit
C? I think it's harder still.
I'm still going
with
Exhibit
C. By Jay Elec versus Survival Tactics by Joey Bada featuring Capital Steez. It's crazy just because like Joey and Capital Steez were new kids on the block in 2012, and nobody thought that rappers that were teenagers at this point could compete with some of the greatest verses of all time, and that's what Capital Steez does here. that verse is
legendary,
all-time list
Oh, for
worthy.
sure, that's all-time worthy. And even Joey's verse is fucking incredible as well. It just showed the hunger from two Brooklyn kids that wanted to make it out and that wanted to be able to burst on the scene, but in a different way. Everyone was going one way with the production styles and the subgenre of rap that they were in, and for them it was recapturing this New York essence that was so prominent within the 90s and flipping that into what we know as 1999 to this day. And Survival Tactics is one of the best songs I've ever heard, period. But I still don't think it touches Exhibit C.
Exhibit C is going on a crazy run right now, but it's now faced with Ambitions as a Writer by Tupac.
This is one of the most aggressive and dark songs I've ever heard within the genre. Like, this is a scary song. This is like pull-up music. Like,
he was ready for the smoke, bro.
Oh, for sure. Like, this is Tupac straight out of like jail, bro. Like, he was coming through in a fully decked out, death row roster and released one of the, hardest hitting like songs you could possibly get within this genre. I mean, even like the way that the song starts off just with those keys, bro, like you're like, wow, okay, I'm locked in automatically.
And it's the intro to an album. Imagine starting off your album with all that energy. Not only that, but like I feel like Tupac is like in this immortal mode where you can't fuck with him, bro. He's unfuckwittable.
No, you can't phase him. I also think that this is one of the best car songs ever, bro. Playing this in a whip is like it's so sick, dude. Especially if you have good car speakers.
It's so menacing,
it's
bro.
So
like
sick.
It's like he came back from the dead after rapping about how there was an attempt on his life, but he's here, bro. He's ready for the smoke. Nobody could touch him.
Okay, but this is what I think the matchup comes down to, okay? What do you get more energy out of, Exhibit C or Ambitions as a Writer?
Ambitions as a Writer. Not only that, but I think that just in terms of cadence, in terms of delivery, I got to side with Tupac, despite the rapping and I would say the double entendres and metaphors being superior on Exhibit C. I think Ambitions as a Writer is the better song.
You think it's a better song? I got to agree with you. I think that's when Ambitions as a Writer is going to be jumping in. But let's put Ambitions as a Writer versus The Art of Storytelling by Outkast in the part one. So listen, man, this is one of my favorite songs of all time. I mean, it's such an iconic song, even for the South. I mean, the storytelling on this song is impeccable, The Art of Storytelling, and just that production, bro. You even hear, artists like J. Cole reusing that song for, songs like Land of the Snakes. I mean, there's just so much influence behind it, and I think it speaks to so many people on a different level. I definitely think that this is a good matchup here. So what are you going with,
I think
bro?
the production's stronger on The Art of Storytelling. Mm-hmm. I think the writing is probably better on The Art of Storytelling.
Yeah, that's a hot one, though.
I think it has a better hook than Ambitions as a Writer as well. And that's what's amazing is that oftentimes storytelling songs don't focus on the melodies too much or the hooks, but Andre really went in for it on this one. And I think The Art of Storytelling dethrones it.
Yeah, you think The Art of Storytelling comes in and gets it? All right, guys.
Agree?
Listen, we have another pass. All right, The Art of Storytelling has just moved on, but now it has to face New York State of Mind by Nas. I'm going to give it to New York State of Mind off the bat. I think that, there's no doubt that this is one of the greatest songs to ever touch the genre, but I think that just looking at what New York State of Mind did for the genre as a whole is just different, man. Like, the influence is fucking impeccable. Just that idea of, kind of writing what you're seeing outside of your window and, how that was implemented onto Illmatic, and this being probably the best, New York hip hop song to ever come out in a time where, New York was in its golden age. I mean, it's the top of that pedestal. So yeah, I'm definitely
even like the alarm sound that DJ Premier sampled. It sounds like you're running out of time in the streets of New York. Facts. It sounds like everybody's trapped, and that's what Nas is rapping about. Like, I feel like he connects on a lyrical level, but also on a psychological level in terms of tapping into the mindset of somebody that's living in Queensbridge and how they feel trapped by the system, how they feel like they can't get out of their environment. And I think that Nas's rapping was unlike anything you were hearing around that time. I mean, even the quotables like never sleep because sleep is the cousin of death. Like,
yeah, there's so much that goes.
It's some of the most memorable lines in hip hop history, some of the best writing and rapping I've ever heard. And I don't know if anything else is going to dethrone this today, bro.
Yeah, this is
New York State of Mind by Nas advances, but now it's placed against Paid in Full by Eric B. and Rakim. And yeah, this is my favorite Rakim song, next to Microphone Fiend, next to Follow the Leader, and so many others. I think that it's such a super cool message because although he's talking about like that pursuit for financial gain, he's rapping about like changing his ways and kind of going into his rhyme book now to find a better path in terms of his career.
Yeah, you know what I also like about this song too is like what Rakim is able to achieve here, just by not necessarily because like I'm not sure if you noticed this too, but this I was watching a couple of interviews, and what Rakim used to do so well is have such a smooth and flow and calm cadence on the microphone, where you had a lot of different acts, like let's see Run DMC or even Beastie Boys, that were very energetic and that were almost screaming into their microphones, while the approach of Rakim was kind of different. It was supposed to be laid back and everything was supposed to be pronounced perfectly because he wanted to display his full verses. And
and if you're listening to hip hop from like 85 to 88, nobody was rapping with like the fluidity or the complexity that Rakim possessed, but it's still not better than New York State of Mind.
No, it's not better than New York
Production
State of Mind.
wise, it gets trumped. Lyricism wise, it gets trumped. So we'll now move on to another tough matchup though. Shook Ones Part 2 by Mobb Deep.
This was a big one
versus
me, man.
New York State of Mind by Nas. I mean, listen, Shook Ones Part 2 is a masterpiece. It's the best remix in hip-hop history. I think that when you're thinking about a cold, gritty New York sound, nobody captivates that better than what Havoc did with the production. It's one of the most used beats for freestyles just because of how chilling it is. And I just love the fact that, he's talking about how you can't be a halfway crook. You can't be half in, half out of the streets.
Yeah.
You have to fully commit to that lifestyle.
But it also goes like, that's like a universal message. Like in anything in life, you have to go all in, or else you won't be able to achieve what you want to. And I think that's what Shook Ones Part 2 does for me, is that it gives me that type of motivation. I love it as a workout song too, one of my favorite of all time. It gets you in the zone, man. Like it just ends up, because of how cold it is and how chilling it is. Like you're locked in when you're listening to this. Like before you're playing like a rugby game, like I used to play this song, or when I was younger to gain some hype before a hockey game, same thing. So
yeah, it's those sharp and flat like piano keys that are so dark. I think it's arguable. It's a better beat than New York State of Mind. It wins on production, without a doubt, but I don't think it wins in the other areas. In terms of mic performance, I think Nas still gets them.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I definitely do think that New York State of Mind does go through. But let's go on to New York State of Mind versus Mural by Lupe Fiasco. So okay, I will say this. I genuinely don't think that Nas has a better rapping performance than, Lupe Fiasco does on Mural. I will say that.
But I don't think Mural has the timeless themes that Nas was bringing in with New York State of Mind.
It's just hard, though, because, like, yes, it was released back then, but, I mean, we haven't seen, like, how long Mural is going to be impacting. I mean, it's more of a low-key song as well within the whole genre. There's a lot of fans that fuck with it, but
it's a celebrated song.
It's a celebrated song, but not on the level of New York State of Mind. No. I definitely do think New York State of Mind is that type of staple, but like Lupe Fiasco on Mural is definitely like a top 10 performance of all time as far as like microphone display. So what are you going
in terms
with
of literary techniques, everything? I'm still going New York State of Mind.
You're still going
like
New York State of Mind?
It has the timeless themes. It has the better production, in my opinion, and I just think that it has had more of an impact on the genre as a whole. So,
fuck, I feel bad taking on Mural here. All right, okay. Let's do New York State of Mind over Mural, but let's see. This is the last song on today's list, and we have "Fight the Power" by Public Enemy. And so many people regard this as one of the most important songs within the whole genre, and one of the best at that. I love what Public Enemy achieved here, but I still think again, New York State of Mind is a better song. Like, if you had to play one, what are you going with? Like, what's your toss-up? Fight the Power or New York State of Mind? I guarantee you're going with New York State of Mind, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, it has to be New York State of Mind, bro. When I think of sheer hip-hop greatness and excellence, I always go back to that song, and it's arguably the best song off of the best album of all time with Illmatic. So I think New York State of Mind has to win our King of the Hill battle for the greatest rap song of all time. What do you think is like the biggest surprise out of this list? Was it like the big run that Stan had, or Exhibit C?
Yeah, Exhibit C made a massive fucking run for sure. But
you're a bit salty about it moving over to Sing About Me, aren't you?
No, not really. But I mean, what's interesting, guys, about this type of format is that we're going to be doing our top 10 songs of all time. So who knows? You might see Stan in like my top 3. You might see Exhibit C in my top 5. So who knows, guys? But please subscribe if you have not already, because we're going to be having that conversation in a very short amount of time. It will be coming. But thank you guys so much for watching. We're almost at 100,000 subs. Thank you guys so much for the support that you're showing us, and we'll catch you in the next video.